Good morning. Welcome to Tuesdays in the Text. A little bit behind this morning due to some technical issues, but here we are. So, my name is Ted Doering. I'm the pastor of Narrative Church in Round Rock, Texas, and I spend Tuesday mornings diving into the text that I'm using for the sermon this week. So, let's take a look. We're spending time in the book of Proverbs. So, today we'll be in Proverbs chapter 15, verses 1 through 5. So, we look here. A soft answer does what? Turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Now, think about it like this. How often have you given a gentle and respectful response versus when you respond in harshness or anger? And think about the difference that creates. So here the Proverbs are telling us, hey, this is an important thing to think about. So now we're going to talk about the tongue. The tongue of the wise commends knowledge, but the mouths of the fools, what did it do? It pours out folly. So wisdom seeks knowledge. Now we talked about the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is not bad, but wisdom is knowledge plus experience and application, and how do we use it? Now let's keep looking here. The eyes of the Lord are in every place. This is the classic God knows, right? God sees what you're doing. Keep watching, keeping watch on the evil and the good. Now, why would the writer follow this? Now, I think this is interesting because look at these two ideas here. Those oftentimes happen, they can happen in public, but oftentimes more in private settings, right? Where you say something, you do something, not in front of that person, not in front of that way, of seeking knowledge, right, is understanding and growing. And when we use our tongue, when we respond in certain ways, oftentimes we think no one sees, but here we see God knows. A gentle tongue is a tree of life. I love that. But perverseness in it breaks the spirit. So think of this, right? Tree of life is growth and life, but perverseness is brokenness. A fool despises his father's instruction, but whoever heeds reproof is prudent. So think about this. If you have a good father, right, you want to heed that instruction. And sometimes instruction comes from reproof, from getting in trouble, from being told no, finding out in a different way. And so here we see what wisdom is, and that, think about it like this. So a fool despises his father's instruction. Whoever heeds reproof is prudent. When you look at the tongue, how often do we need that reproof? Do we need someone to tell us, hey, think about what you're doing here? Now let's take a look at James 2. This is a very clear passage on the taming of the tongue. Or James 3, I'm sorry. So our readings say 2 to 12, but we're going to do 1 just because it is the totality of this section. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, for you know that you who teach will be judged with greater strictness. So those who become preachers and teachers, there will be a greater strictness to them. For we all stumble in many ways. So, okay, not perfection, but we all stumble. And if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man. Now, this is more rhetorical, right? If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he's what? A perfect man. This is James, I think, having a rhetorical moment with us. Able also to bridle his whole body. So think about this, to control his whole body. Now he's going to give us this example of horses. If we put bits in the mouth of horses so that they obey us, so that bit goes in the mouth so that when you pull it, it turns their head. We guide their whole bodies as well. So when you pull on the reins, it turns them. Look at the ships also. So we're going into a more nautical theme. Though they are so large and driven by strong winds, they are guided by a very small rudder. So you think of the rudder of a ship. It turns and it's going to turn the ship wherever the will of the pilot directs. So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. So here we have both the bridle and the rudder as examples of small things controlling, I will say steering the whole. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. So this is referring to the tongue. The tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by hell. All right, now look, he's not messing around. Set on fire by hell. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and sea creature can be tamed and has been tamed by mankind. But no human being can tame the tongue. Now, where does this take us back up to, right? It takes us back up to, it's actually to verse 2, right? Where he says, if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man. Well, here he says, but no human being can tame the tongue. So we see this was rhetorical for James. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. With it we bless our Lord and Father, and with it we curse people who are made in the likeness of God. Ooh, it's heavy stuff. From the same mouth come blessing and cursing. My brother, these things ought not to be so. This is big. He's saying, listen, this isn't who we're supposed to be. Does a spring pour forth from the same opening both fresh and salt water? Can a fig tree, my brothers, bear olives, or a grapevine produce figs? Neither can a salt pond yield fresh water. And so here we're getting this thing of saying, wow, if the tongue is this part of us that can cause all these things, we need to pay attention. And how can both of these things come from this one member of our body? And so we're going to be talking about this on Sunday. We're going to be talking about what we say matters. We're going to look at that in light of the Proverbs. We're going to look at that in light of James. We're going to really look at that in light of Jesus and who he is. Looking forward to that on Sunday. Would love to have you with us if you're in the area. We meet at the District Mission Center, 1221 Satellite View in Round Rock, Texas. If you are watching this from further away, we'd love to point you to a gospel-based church and hope you find a community where you can hear more about Jesus. Have a great week.